Hey y'all, thanks for joining me on another installment of Let's Go Live with Sim. I just decided to change this up and do the format a little different because usually it was Saturdays with Sim, but I'm like, you know what? I had to get my Saturdays back, but I still wanted to pop in and talk to you guys and see how you guys are doing, and also to talk about things that I find interesting and important outside of my other, content that I talk about on YouTube pertaining to, reality TV shows and all that jazz. But anyway, today we will be talking about settling versus compromising because I feel like a lot of the times we kind of use the two interchangeably. But honestly, I feel like the main issue is not really knowing the difference between the two. And sometimes I think we settle and when we should have been compromising and when we should have been settling. So that is what we are going to talk about today. Hey, Tanja J girl, make sure you drop comments and let me know what you think about this topic. We are talking about settling versus compromising and knowing the difference. But I'm gonna run my intro because I paid for this thing, so you're about to see it every time I go live. No, but seriously, after we do this little intro, I will be back and we will get to talking. Oh, my eye itch. Sorry, y'all. Let me go ahead and run this real quick.
Medicine, Quebec, man, a girl was heaven sent. Medicine, Quebec, man, a girl was heaven sent.
Psych now. So, but seriously, thanks again for joining me on another installment of Sim Goes Live. And today we will be talking about settling versus compromising. I don't know. I always feel like I need to talk about certain things because I feel as though a lot of times we as people, whether it's in relationships or in life, sometimes we settle. And I always think that that's not good because sometimes I feel like settling is also an issue of a lack of faith. You have to literally believe that what you want and what you desire and what's going to be important to you and make your life happy, peaceful, and comfortable is out there. So that is what we will be talking about today. Yes, compromise is not good. It's not an option. Come on now. Compromise is not good, is not an option. Okay, so I feel like compromise is good, but settling is not an option. I think about it like this. You know how it may be like you and your siblings or you and your friends, y'all trying to go out to eat. And you usually like to go to Red Lobster, but they suggested that the other group, like some of the other people in the group, want to go to Olive Garden. So a compromise will be like, okay, I'll go to Red Lobster. But settling would be going to Red Lobster, knowing that you got a food allergy, knowing that you got a seafood allergy. So that's the thing that I'm talking about. It's like the things that are truly aligned to you, things that you shouldn't compromise on, or things that you shouldn't settle. Those are the things that I feel like we need to speak up more about. Like, this is no type time of getting where you fit in type action. So really, that is what I wanted this live to be about. Because like I said, I feel like we use interchangeably. So you know what, that is true. Solomon compromised, and look where that got him in the eyes of the Lord. So will you say that Solomon well, I guess he did compromise. I would say, let me see, compromise definition. Okay, so a compromise is an agreement or a settlement of a dispute that is reached by each side making concessions. That's kind of what I was referring to. Like, when you compromise, it should be mutually beneficial. I think maybe Solomon settled or fell short of God's true promise of what you there we go. Like, I feel like when we say God shall supply all my needs, okay, the compromise would be not holding on to what God says, okay? feel like that's doing our part, believing in that word in that scripture. Settling would be like, all right, God, I don't see a way out. Okay, so let me do X, Y, and Z to make it happen, kind of thing. I feel like sometimes that could be the difference between the two. But I think that this really goes well too with kind of what we do for a living as well. Sometimes I feel like we settle for jobs we really don't like. We settle for treatment we really don't like. So I think that is kind of where I'm going with it. And then especially of course in relationships. You know, when people you hear the statistics is this many men to this many women. So a lot of times women settle with what is out there, even though they know truly this is not what they truly desire. It's kind of like I was going to do a video about this when people say nobody's perfect. Yes, that is true. Nobody that you will be in a relationship is going to be perfect, but I do believe that the person that you should be with should perfectly complement you. So, meaning like, this person may not have the swag, quote unquote swag I like. They may not dress how I want them to dress, but their character, their morals, the things that they stand for, how they present themselves, those are things that I cannot settle, you know, that I will not settle for. You know, I could compromise if, you know, he likes Chinese food, but I like Indian food. There can be a compromise, but there cannot be a compromise when it comes down to, okay, see, Tangent J, as I'm talking about it more, Tangent J, it's like, okay, I get the compromise part. So, okay, I want to say compromise is going to be like the meeting of the minds of the two, like two people, two things mutually benefiting each other. And then the settling is where like one person only benefits the most. Then the other person is looking sad because their needs aren't being met. So, I read something online that said settling is making do with less. And I feel like that is so true. Settling is when you know you like a certain, I want to say, let me not use that example. Settling again will be something like knowing you got a food allergy, but you on a date with somebody that you really like, but you go ahead and eat it anyway. Instead of compromising and be like, I cannot eat that, and let's go to another restaurant. Or let that person eat the food, and then after you eat your food, I'm gonna drink on this water or try to find something on the menu that I can eat, and then afterwards we will go someplace that I like, you know, so that way you were mutually benefited and so was I. So that's the thing. Meeting in the middle is when it comes to compromise. You know, I may have my likes that are external, or I feel like that aren't that okay, here we go. You can compromise on superficial things, but you shouldn't compromise when it comes to internal things that make you tick, things that are going to make you happy, things that you need to be at peace with when you go to bed. That's what I want to say. Hey, you're catered to, girl. Hey. It's the black compromise with white and get gray. That's true. You'd be right in the middle. Compromising is accepting less of one thing in return for another, for more of another. Yeah, so that's what I think about too. Settlement is like knowing that you're just going to make do with what you got because you don't believe that what you really want exists. You know, let's say, for example, you always had dreams of making it in Hollywood, being an actress. Settling for me would be in that kind of scenario is working a job that you really don't like, because you don't believe that what you have is out there. Now, a compromise of that would be okay. It may take me some time to get to where I want to get, but I feel like compromise on the way of going for your dreams or your goals could be like, okay, I'm going to work this job I don't like, but I'm going to go to auditions on the weekends. You know what I mean? That's still putting your like faith in action kind of thing. So choice is what one can change. Settlement is an agreement to take less. Hey, Miss Allie 39. Hey, Kanisha girl. So yes, we are talking about knowing the difference between settling and compromise. So another thing I wanted to share that I found online was that it says if your partner wants to change you into something you are not, to make you give up your way of life, your beliefs, friends, your family, or simply does not respect what you have achieved in life or want to achieve, staying with them is not a compromise. If there are many amazing things about the person you love, with a few really irritating things you feel you can bear in order to enjoy the amazing things, that's a compromise. Giving into something to get more. Relationships take work, compromise, and sacrifice to stay together. Compromise is choosing to accept traits or issues you feel you can be flexible towards. That's good because all other aspects of your partner and relationship satisfy you. See, that is what I'm talking about. Like what I said, you may not like how a person dressed, but that can change. You may not like the sports or anything that they're into, but overall, who they are as a person, you can dig, you can get with. Like their core values, who they are, you vibe, you mesh. I think we tend to settle when really our core values aren't being met, but we're just like, okay, I'm going to make do. But I feel like eventually you trying to make do is going to come out to the light. I'm like, oh, see, I cannot do this. Because notice a lot of the times you hear people get divorced for irreconcilable differences. See, those were the things people settle for, the things that they know deep down inside they don't like, they don't really want to tolerate, but they just may be like, dang, I want to go back out on the dating market again. Like, dang, I invested so much time. See, you just cannot make do with less. I mean, you really shouldn't. You're just going to waste your time. It's almost like you're either going to pay on the front end or the back end. So that's why I'm all for delayed gratification. I feel like everything in life is about faith. How much faith you have to believe, to receive what God has for you. So everything that's good, God got you with. You know what I mean? It's his glory to give good gifts to his kids. But do you have enough faith? You know what I mean? The currency of the kingdom to bring it on down and make it a reality in your life. That's what a lot of people don't do. So that's how come I don't like when people say like there's no good men or no good women out there. That is going to become your reality. Don't be mad at us because you probably settle, but hopefully you listen to this and you know what not to settle and know what to compromise with. So Kanisha said, I'm not willing to do either. Not sorry. Life isn't long enough to be miserable and unhappy, to each their own. You know what? You're right, but don't you feel like you do have to make compromises in relationships, guys? I feel like a compromise is one of those things that are like external that really, because I feel like you're not going to get I feel like you and your partner aren't going to vibe on every single thing and every single decision. I could say like, let's say it's a couple starting from scratch and they're trying to decide on the car to get. Like if one person wants a Benz and the other person wants a Maserati, like I feel like it got to be some compromise in between there. Really, it's not hurting no one. That's why I'm like, okay, I feel like, but then again, maybe that's something everybody has to come to their own decision to, as far as what you will compromise on and what you won't compromise on. So I do feel like compromise is a good thing. It's kind of like meeting in the middle when we have differences. Settling, I'm not for when it comes to anything. I feel like that's a no-no. Settling, I don't want to do that. Because like I said, I know I'm going to feel bad deep down inside, So I feel like for an example would be, for me personally, y'all know how I be about my faith. So I cannot settle for somebody that is like an atheist, because y'all know most of the time I'm gonna be talking about God and things of the sort. So me settling would be like, oh, he's so fine, he got everything else I like. But the settling would be, okay, he don't believe like how I believe. I feel like that's a no-no. Yeah, because I'm trying to pray together. What you mean? Like, to me, that's real intimacy. Praying, worshiping, standing side by side in the church together, praising the Lord. To me, that is real intimacy. We're able to worship before the King of Glory. Yes. But all right. Okay. Yeah. But I understand what you're saying too. I do feel like maybe it's different definitions of compromise, because like you said, Solomon did compromise the kingdom for those floozies that he was fornicating with. Like, no, I was just kidding. But yeah. Let me see. Let me like this comment. Why is not letting me like it? Okay. If you are on the same page, there is no reason to compromise. Okay, but all right, Tangent J, then you have to tell me then. Let's say you're in a relationship. How would you settle? You want to go to one restaurant for date night, and your mate, your husband, your spouse, or whatever wants to go to another restaurant. How do you settle that if y'all both don't compromise, or if somebody doesn't compromise? Like, okay, yeah, I want to hear your response to that, because that's the stuff like I'm talking about. Like, how would you make the distinction between the two? Let me see what else. Compromise is choosing to accept traits or issues you feel you can be flexible towards, because all other aspects of your partner and relationship satisfy you. Settling is compromising your needs. Okay, there we go. All right. That's good. Compromising your needs. All right. When you settle, your happiness is at stake. When you compromise, you are choosing to tolerate certain things to achieve and maintain a beneficial outcome. Right. That's what I mean by compromise. It's not really going to matter if we differ on, where we want to go on vacation, where we're going to spend how we're going to spend the bonuses this year. Like, where we going to go? Like, how we going to see? You see, I like try to think good things that couples could compromise. Where are we going to send the kids to for after school? Like, compromise on those things. But let's see. All right, coming to an understanding. Right. I like that. When I read, okay, this makes perfect sense to me. When you compromise, you are choosing to tolerate and maintain the beneficial outcome. So yeah, I think really the difference between settling and compromising is ultimately it's going to look different for everybody. I think that's what we're all getting towards. And I feel like we have to know our non-negotiables. That's probably why this topic is important to me. Because a lot of times I just felt like I settled just to go along to get along. Like, my needs were not being met. So I settled a lot just to kind of for harmony's sake. But no more settling. I know what I want. I know that it's out there. No, actually, I know that I got it. By faith, I believe I receive. All right. So let's see what else. And we will talk as we go. Sharing is caring. Okay. Let me see if I can show y'all. Let me see if I can share my screen. Okay, there we go. I feel compromise chips away at your beliefs. Yeah, I feel like some of the stuff I read online, compromise. Oh, I forgot y'all can still see this. Hold on, let me pull this out. Let me do this. bring this over here. Okay. I feel like, yeah, compromising is choosing to accept traits or issues you feel you can be flexible toward. Hey, Denise Tamika, we are talking about knowing the differences between compromising and settling. And how do you compromise without disrupting your beliefs? Yeah, that's what we're trying to figure out. But yeah, I feel like compromise is like a good thing. I feel like it's a meeting of the minds. But settling is when you, to me, is when it settling is what chips at your belief, because you know that you're just trying to make do, trying to take make a dollar out of 15 cents. Is that kind of stuff that I feel like really chips away at your beliefs. So I mean, let's watch this video. It's only 3 minutes, so see if we can get some juice from it.
I'm Susan Winter for SusanWinter.net. And if you are written in wanting to know what is the difference between settling and being realistic, I think it's a great question because there is a distinction. Here's the way I would describe this. Settling means you could do better and you know it. Settling means you have let yourself stay in a relationship or you've entered a relationship with upfront compromises. You're not getting a lot of the things you want, and you know it. But for whatever reason, you are not motivated enough to make a change. You could feel that it's too much work, takes too much effort, it's just fine for now, or your real focus is on some other aspect in your life. But settling always implies that you could have shot higher and you've chosen not to. Now, being realistic means that you have carefully looked at all of your dating opportunities. You've looked at every prospective mate that realistically would come into your life. And then you've looked at the factors in your life that have limited that pool of candidates. And out of that limited pool of candidates, you have found an adequate, agreeable partner that is realistic for where you are in your life. For example, if you're doing 100-hour weeks, you're at Goldman Sachs, you're a grad student, you are a professional athlete, it would be realistic to find a mate that understands that they get 2 hours of your time a week, if that, okay? That is a certain kind of partner for a certain segment of your life that needs to be in harmony with what you have to offer at the time. It may not be your ultimate goal, but for where you are, it's agreeable. Being realistic means if I'm a 65-year-old woman living in an adult community and there are a couple of widows, it might be realistic that I would choose from one of those candidates. If there is some factor that limits you, being realistic is taking all of your pluses, all of the negatives, and saying, what is the best that I can do? Now, in a realistic relationship, we are being honest. There may be things about ourselves or our lifestyle that aren't optimal for drawing in our ultimate partner, but at least we know that we are doing the best with what we have. So I hope that that answers your question, and there's nothing wrong with being realistic. We always shoot for the highest, and we also try to unlimit our mind, because sometimes there's a marked difference between what we feel is realistic and limited beliefs that have suppressed what is actually possible. So check that out before you start to be too realistic. Thanks a lot, Susan Winter for SusanWinter.net. If you prefer to hear this on takes too much effort.
Okay, so what y'all think about that? That was a really good breakdown. That was my first time watching it, but I know I like Susan Winter, so I felt like this is her YouTube channel. If y'all was interested in checking her out, but all right, I knew I liked her videos to begin with, so I said, okay, this should be a good one to talk about or to break down or to discuss. But yeah, I like how she said that settling does feel that way. That's how come I never believed in the one that got away, because I don't want to say like the people that I dated were bad people or anything like that. I just felt like they weren't my people, and I settled just because I'm just like, well, why not? But I never put myself first or put my needs being met first. And I feel like that was the real issue. So, all right. Oh, Kanisha, you had to get on. Okay, I had to get on my tablet. Me and Tamika were on the phone. Yeah, look at y'all chatting. Okay, so did that video at all make sense, or did you guys understand my point a little bit more? I do feel like compromise is okay when it comes down to things that aren't really going to disrupt your peace. Maybe that's what. Yeah, that's the difference for me. Settling is what's going to disrupt your peace when you feel like, dang, yeah, I really don't like that. This is going to be a problem in the long run, but let me just hope he changes. Let me just hope I can fix it. So I guess I can see if that's what you guys mean when you say compromise. I can see it from that way, but that's how come I'm using the word settling as well. Being miserable on purpose is beyond me, girl. Let's see. If one wants to go to a restaurant, it's like just a choice. Oh yeah, you did say something. Choice is what one can change. Yep. So yeah, y'all. I think I helped my own self out with this. We all have settled and went on a scary roller coaster ride and got off sick. You better say that. That is so true. We all been there. Settling is not fun. And I like what she said. Always shoot for the stars, your highest potential. And only you can determine what that is. I really don't like when people say be realistic. I remember, I be having receipts. I'm gonna have to go and find that clip of Will Smith when he was like being realistic. That makes no sense. Let me see if I can find it for us, and then I'll let y'all go. Will Smith being realistic on being realistic. Yup, let's see if we can get it. It comes from this video right here. This is my fave video. I'm gonna share with y'all YouTube one moment once I get to the part. Let me see.
An idea. I want to represent.
Wish I had this queued up, but he was like, being realistic is not it.
Physical thrust.
Oh wait, I think this is it.
Our
thoughts?
Our thoughts, our feelings, our dreams, our ideas, our situations of that making a choice, there's a floor. I realized that when to have the level of success that I want to have, it's difficult to spread it out. And I'm motivated by things was the scared to die for. We didn't grow up. I've never really viewed myself as particularly, if you don't study, distinctly different about me. Getting off first and told 12, you don't say I'm going to build the biggest, baddest, greatest wall that's ever been built. You don't start there. You say, I'm going to lay, and you do that every. It's still becoming better because I've been so that really be there. I think that all successful people.
That's kind of funny, but it was so deep. He was just saying, like, being realistic, the Wright brothers didn't think creating the plane, like when everybody was doing that wasn't being, when that first came to be, that idea that you can bend a piece of metal and actually have it fly, that's not being realistic, but it happened. So that's how come I don't even really like when people say be realistic. No, anything is possible, okay? Okay, so Tandra J said, I'm gonna show y'all. Be confident in who you are. People are always attracted to and respect one who knows their worth. That is it. Period. Case closed. That's it right there. Know your worth. Know what you want. Know what you want exists. That's my thing. I feel like people settle jobs, relationships, life, friendships, and things like that because you feel like you can't get any better. And that is an issue of worth. You know, it's almost like if you had $1 million, would you really like out of all the houses to choose from, would you really choose to live in a shack? No, because you had the means to get more and better. And that's how we have to look at ourselves. You're that $1 million, billion, trillion. You have no like your value is limitless. So act like it. Okay, we gotta act like it. Yeah. So, Kanisha, what your ex say? My ex told me that, LOL, he said, I regret letting you get away. We would have been married 20 years with 3 kids. LOL, that made my heart smile. Oh, they always come back. What they always come back once they realize it. And that's another thing too. So Tanja J, like she we talk about love and marriage Huntsville on my channel, and I feel like it's the same thing with Martell too. Sometimes, remember how Usher said, "You never miss a good thing till it leaves you." And finally, I realized that I need you. I want you back. Remember that song? I don't know. I'll be remembering songs from high school, but nevertheless, they always do want you. And sometimes that I feel like that is like a thing of worth too. Like sometimes men don't or women may not feel like they're worthy of like a great catch at the time. Like they may not. So I feel like you have to have high self-esteem to even be with somebody that is on your level, you know? You have to know that you have to know what you deserve. You have to feel that, you know? Just like if I ever run across Michael B. Jordan, I want to act like I belong with him. You know, he ain't no different or better than me. I am a Hollywood actress in my mind, or at least I'm gonna walk like I am. Okay. Yes. Oh yeah. So be careful on who you take advice from. Will Smith. You know what? You are right. But I felt like you know how like you can, what they say, chew the meat and spit out the bones. And I know that doesn't work for everything, but with him, he did say something. And you ever notice that to me, if you like sit up there and listen to some of these celebrities, they be taking like biblical principles and then just like spilling it out. It's like they take the principles that are true because we know that God's laws are ever changing. They work in every industry, you know what I mean? No matter what, because they're laws, like point blank period. So people will use like laws, rules, regulations, biblical principles for good and evil. Without going too deep, because my mind be going deep. But I was watching the Columbine, situation, that happened, I think like maybe 25, almost 30 years ago. But them boys that did that, they sat up there and practiced that over and over and over and over and over again in their mind. And I was just like, wow, what would have happened if they would have used that same energy and put it into something positive or constructive? You know what I mean? Like, so it's, and that's kind of like I said with faith, is when you, or imagining things, like how you have to see yourself and see yourself healed. You know what I mean? All those things, seeing yourself successful, those are things that, like, biblical principles, and they can work for good and for evil. So I feel like that's what most of these celebrities do. They be like using biblical principles, but don't be giving God the glory. You know? Mm-hmm. You're right. You are true. You are right. Take advice from godly people who share your core beliefs. Very, very true. And I wasn't trying to take his advice more so, but I just kind of like how he explained it, the way he put it, But yeah, you are right about that. So yes, guys, that's all I wanted to talk about today. Speaking of godly principles, I am reading this book for y'all on Instagram. Hold on, I got it. How I'm gonna show y'all? Let me show. I know how I can show y'all on YouTube. It's called I Said This, You Heard That. So I'm reading this book on with my women's study class that I'm in with the church I used to attend, and it's really, really good. It's helping us realize our makeup, how we are. And I learned that I'm like a melancholic or something. Something like that. Hold on, let me share my screen real quick. See if y'all ever like heard of this book or took the test. But yep, that's it. Men want their cake. So Purple Passion 0616 said men want their cake in cupcake. And cupcakes had 10 females and love them all separately. LOL, she gives me money. She cooks for me. This one is my soulmate. That one has the best sex I've ever had. Honey child. And you know what? That's true. But I also feel like men like that, I don't know. Don't you feel like they're kind of scared or something? Because I do believe one woman is enough. So please miss me with all your yeah, and back in the day when we was kings and queens and men had multiple wives, my sister. No, anybody trying to hear that? Because you ever notice like them woke people, they be so like woke when it comes to what they eat. Oh, I ain't going to eat anything made from a lab that's cooked up from McDonald's. You know, they real silent when it comes to that kind of stuff, real disciplined when it comes to that kind of stuff, but have no problems interchanging their souls with different people. You know what I mean? That be the part that get me, you know? Like y'all have no problem. Y'all eat your vegan meals, your grass, your wheatgrass, and all that good stuff. But when it comes to your spirit, you don't mind interchanging that with multiple women, right? Okay, yeah. So guess we'll figure it out somehow. But nevertheless, I am in this class and I'm learning about like my temperament. And I have a melancholic. Here we go. This is me, the blue. So that's why I got on blue. That's how come y'all can't see me right now because after work I did my walk. Y'all, I'm trying to be summertime finer. That's the thing. Let me put finer on there because I feel like at the end of the day, right now I'm fine. So, yes. But anyway, I learned we're taking a test and we had to wear the color that we are, and I am a blue. Oh, let's read it. So I'm a thoughtful analyzer. Ooh, I got really close. I was close with blue and green. It says able to identify obstacles and find creative, detailed solutions. The judgmental skeptic. No, they didn't. Okay, so I'm judgmental. Wouldn't be the first time I heard something like that. Assumes the worst in situations and people and can be critical and unforgiving of others. Because people get on my nerves. No, I'm playing. See, look at this. Something that I gotta work on. Yeah, because I'm not judgmental, or at least I don't want to be. It may come across that way, but again, that's just like my wanting the higher good for everybody. But see, that's like my desire, and I learned that I cannot push that or force that on anybody. People have to want those kind of things for themselves. So, yeah, but anyway, that class starts in 20 minutes. So I'm gonna hop off this. But thank you guys again for joining me on this live as we talked about compromising and settling. I'm glad that we were able to have some good dialogue and different perspective, on the two. And you guys helped me to go back and look up compromise because y'all was like, we ain't compromising. No compromising. So maybe I have to go back and reevaluate that as well. We just in here learning together. But anyway, let me read last thing Kanisha said. I'm cracking up. We females are the problem. Let these men lie to us. Cheat on, and deceive us and hate another female, but forgive him over and over. Facts. And I feel like, because I try to make examples like that for myself because I feel the same way. I'm like, I noticed that if when I'm talking to the guy I really like, I could be on the phone with him for hours, but then won't have that same energy when it comes time to pray to God. And God created us both. And I understand like everybody may not be like on that level, but like I really try to examine myself in those kind of ways. Like I don't want to be putting anybody more on the pedestal on my heart more than God, And I'm learning to kind of put things in their proper perspective. Not to say that like that makes me any more holy or better or anything if I can pray for hours and hours for God, but it's just almost like let me make sure my priorities are straight. Seek God first, and everything else will be added unto you. So yeah, I'm trying to get that energy to God. Know who you are in Christ. That stuff is fleeting. Very true. This is true. Exactly. All right. I want to be counted in the number. So yeah, so that's another thing. Maybe I should go live about that next. I'm in another class too on how to share the gospel, and I feel good about knowing like the scriptures that I can, that I can walk people through. Like, hey, this is what the word says. So that'll be another thing we'll talk about too. Your answer is simple. You making things complicated by looking everywhere. Exactly. This is true. That is a very good point. I realize that as well. I feel like, that's why sometimes it's hard for me to promote my books and stuff, because I feel like at the end of the day, the only book you really need is the Bible and you'll be okay. You can read my book too as supplemental, but the best relationship book, advice book, life book, parenting book, everything in between will be your word, because it's like in the beginning was the word, and the word was God, and the word was me. Yeah. And I noticed that he will fix you up, and like just reading his word made a difference in my life. It's just like I feel so full now. Mm-hmm. All the answers are in the word. It's true. Like everything. And then that's another thing, Tangie J. Like I realized that I feel like when I wasn't reading my Bible like that, I felt like looking back on it, I really feel like that was like the trick of the enemy, because I'm like, wait a minute, there's a lot of good stuff in this book. So I feel like the enemy was trying to have me keep my Bible close so I wouldn't know what was going on. Because I think sometimes people may feel like, oh my gosh, the Bible's a big rule and I ain't gonna be able to do what I want. But no, you missing out on some stuff if you got your Bible closed. Like you're not knowing about God's love for you. You're not knowing how he'll fight for you, advocate for you, show up for you, how you can depend on him. You know what I mean? It's right there. So I really realized that like that was nothing but the trick of the enemy. You know how your parents be saying stuff like that. And now I see. It's just like, oh my gosh. That's why, I had those kind of thoughts. But thank God for Jesus. Here we are today. You are seeking. Don't beat yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Keep it simple. Absolutely. Us and LOL. Won't step foot in the church these days. Just devilish. Okay, I understand, Kanisha. I do understand about church as well. I do feel like, having a relationship with God is most important. And I feel like just because it's a building don't make it a church. I really do feel like you have to find a church or a place to congregate that works for you. Yeah. Because, I see both sides of it. I know how some people feel like a lot of people are judgmental in the church, and some churches, are like that. And I also see it from the other side of church being a place where people go to get it right. So you're going to be around people that may not have it all together. So I see it from both sides, but ultimately, you got a church with you, your sister, your mom, your dad, like all y'all together. You don't necessarily have to go into a building. That's what I feel like things are going to get back to. Sometimes I think about that, like my neighbors and stuff like that. Like, oh, Why don't we open up our house and just fellowship amongst each other? Like these people that I live with right next door to me. You know, like things like that I just be thinking about. I'm still a work in progress. LOL Thursday. Well, look at there. Look at that. Thursday, Bible study, working. There we go. I feel like that is perfect. Yes, and as Tanja J said, let the Lord lead you to where, the church for you, the place where you should congregate and fellowship, and where, the pastor is, speaking things that are feeding your spirit and your soul. For me, I always be liking pastors that, again, use the Bible, that if they're preaching and teaching, like I want to see it in scripture kind of thing. Like, don't be trying to tell me stuff in your head. I kind of want to see what it says in the word, because I'm just that kind of person, because I may want to go back to it. I may like that and be like, oh, I need to hear that again. So that's what I kind of look for in a pastor or in a church. Like, if is it a Bible-based church, the word of God is superior to whatever. That is going to trump for me. So it is not for anyone to say what is best. Trust in the Lord and lean not on your understanding. You know what? That is true too. You can't expect a marriage or relationship to work if only one of you attend church. A family that prays together will be blessed together. Kanisha girl. Facts. And I feel like, here's my settling. now that we're talking about it, and this is probably really why I wanted to do this. I remember that was the area that I settled in. I was just like, okay, you don't want to go to church, but you still believe in God, but okay, that's good enough, but it really don't be good enough. So you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I was just saying that, I'm like, okay, you try and date men that ain't in church, Cinquetta. So yeah. So what's going on? You can't do both. It can't be both. Yeah, men typically don't. Yeah, they don't step into church like that. Where the worship is true. Yeah, girl, it's really real. But I'm grateful that we look how our conversations be. Yep, fellowship daily lifting God. Yes. And I want that in a partner. I really feel like, you know how the scriptures say one can send 1,000 to flight, two can send 10,000 to flight. Yes. So that's what I want to do. But at the end of that, I know God got us throughout it all. But all right, ladies and gentlemen, if you may be watching this or just watching it silently in the background, not commenting, thank you again for joining me on my live. My next one will be, let me see. Oh, don't look at my notes, guys. Stop sharing. My next one will be about, oh, y'all. It's going to be another dating one, because I want to hear what y'all got to say about this. I want to hear what y'all got to say about this. Do nice girls really finish last? How to enforce your boundaries politely. Because I seen this post on Twitter that I was like, whoa, ladies, we need to discuss this. Wait, let me see if I can pull it up real quick while I got y'all on the line. So y'all can make sure y'all be ready to virtually give this sister some advice, because I was blown away. Twitter. Oh, magnify the Lord, for he is worthy to be praised. Look at y'all, got me singing church songs. Okay. Let me see. I should be. All right. This is what we gonna be talking about. Let me share my screen tangent so you can see it too real quick. But get your answers prepared because I want to hear what y'all got to say about this. Okay, so this girl said, I have a problem with being too nice in the talking stage. So y'all can see it. She said, I understand that you can't say yes to every day offer, but I don't like lying, so I end up accepting house dates as I have nothing to do most nights after work. See, we're gonna break this thing down. See, this is why we need to have this conversation about settling and compromising, because Anyway, she says, I'm not having sex during these dates, but 2 times in a row, I have liked guys who didn't ever date me, like I know I should be dated. I even asked them about movies or going out to restaurants, and one guy actually said, okay. This dude didn't even meet me there. Once I got to the restaurant, he texted me what to bring him back when I came through his place later on. It's totally disrespect, and I need to know how to put my foot down in a real way. I can say, no, let's go out, but clearly they don't take me seriously. Oh, child. We're going to talk about it. We is going to talk about it. If nice girls falls last on the pile, she ends up on top. You know what? That's a very good point. So we are going to figure out advice and things that we can say to coach this woman through. Y'all know I got a lot to say. Yeah, so we're going to talk about this. And I think I have it scheduled to go live on the 28th, which is Monday. I think we can still do Monday at 7. Y'all, I signed up for some volunteer opportunities and it starts at 6. So I should be able to finish and be back so we can talk at 7 about that. So don't forget to set your little alarm clocks. If anything changes, you'll know. But then again, thank you guys so much for joining me. I'm going to get ready for this online class and I will talk to you guys again soon. Bye.